That is right. That is the score. It is the Clippers 115 to 110. Great start by me. Tonight we have Fallen Founder Jake on the pod tonight to take over for John. John is at the arena tonight. He is probably feeling a little brokenhearted walking out of the arena right now with a lot of silent fans. But Jake, how you doing? I mean, you had your victory cigar, you said. You still have a cigar. It's a loser cigar. And are you still going to light it?
I don't feel like I deserve it, but yeah,
No.
I'm still going to light it.
Yeah,
I
you have
definitely
to,
still
right?
need it after this one. That's for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, the Suns did lose 115 to 110. A game where, I thought we were going to win. All right. I thought it was going to be an absolute easy victory. I mean, the injury to Paul George, and you have Charles Barkley talking about this is a Clippers series. The Clippers are going to win the series. He's the only guy taking the Clippers. I mean, he's insane, right? But game one, the Clippers do take, not the way you want to start, but it kind of makes sense with this team kind of still looking to gel. With a big loss, though, the Suns have to win next game. I feel like it's a must-win already for the Suns early in the series. But I do have something to drink tonight. I have a little bit of Prosecco, it's called. It's some wine. I don't know.
Prosecco?
Yeah, Prosecco. Is that
Prosecco? No, just let's roll with it. It's
Wait,
just
what did I
it's
say?
a night of losses so far.
Yeah, it really is. We're doing a little Sex in the City here. We're gonna pour a little bit of wine, get a little slutty. And I was like, is chugging with the fellas still a thing? Obviously we're not chugging tonight, but it's chugging with the fellas a thing. It might be. What are you drinking there, Jake?
I still have beer left over from St. Patrick's Day, so I'm having a Smittix red ale, and
Okay.
I hope I pronounced that right, because otherwise we're just going to go with Prosecco and Smithwick's or whatever we're having. Yeah,
Prosecco. His bottle of wine. All right, Jamsters. Well, thanks for joining. Go ahead, like, subscribe. I know the Suns lost, and this is going to be a hard podcast to get through, but honestly, a drink will help. And thanks for joining. And thanks for joining, Jake. Let's have some fun, huh?
Let's do it.
$115 to $110. The Suns did lose. I think I've already said that about 5 times, so I'm sure you're sick of hearing it, Jamsters. I do apologize for the loss, but it's not really our fault. We're still going to hang out, talk for about an hour about this game. But Jake, let's go ahead and get this started with a few questions.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Actually, I got to ask you, you did tweet out earlier. I do see you on Twitter. I'm not really exchanging a lot of...
I thought you were just always ignoring me.
No,
you're
not
like
at
the
all.
Cute girl I want to pay attention to.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I play it hard to get, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it makes me feel good on the inside. But you did have a few questions on Twitter, you said, to start the game. Do you remember any of them? Because I feel like the first half was a lot of nonsense. A lot of, the fans were thinking about the trade. Is it a bad trade? Everything we give away for Kevin Durant, I'm sure that was going through a lot of people's minds. And also just, Game 7 of last year was a thing, but did you have any other questions, or were those the questions you had? Was it going to be another relapse for the Suns in this postseason?
Well, that first quarter was just, it was, it's like, flashbacks to last year of just like, can we try anything?
Yeah.
Now, I will say, as for the trade, Kevin Durant quickly erased all those fears, I think, starting in the second quarter. But yeah, that entire first half, and I'm just going to say it felt like, because my biggest concern coming into the series was Monty will get out-coached at some point, and we'll see how he reacts to it. And this time around, I thought, wait a minute, Monty, you changed the starting lineup. Wait, why is Ish Wainwright coming into the game as one of the first guys off the bench? Wait, why is Landry coming in the game? And I thought, are you trying to outthink Ty Lue in this? Because Ty was just like, I'm just going to run out there and see what happens. So I don't know. What did you think? Was Monty, I thought he was inside his own head trying to overcorrect things that hadn't even started yet.
Yeah, no, that's actually, it's strange you want to start there because there's other things I want to go into, but I'm actually glad you brought this up. So let's go ahead and talk about Monty.
Ever since I've been here, we talked about everything you want is on the other side of hard. This is hard.
Monty Williams, coach of the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, I mean it's something to talk about. Obviously, this game without my favorite, Torrey Craig's in the lineup, Okogie's out. My favorite guy that I wanted to play next to all those other guys, be the fifth guy. Don't mix it up. Have the same bench. Craig was really feeling it going to the postseason, but he played great tonight, obviously.
Mhm.
But I'm also thinking like, does this screw everything else up for everybody else? Like they were kind of gelling a little bit towards the end of the season. The bench was
Mhm.
playing well. Do you think it really messed things up chemistry wise, or was he out coached tonight because of the decisions he made to actually adjust lineups according to what the Clippers are going to do? Because I've
Mhm.
always hated that. I feel like we have a
Mhm.
good starting five with Okogie. Just stick with it. And Okogie comes in and doesn't look the same. He played decent defense, but it just wasn't the same Okogie. But were there just some mishaps that you want to go over and just let out, let it
Well,
all out right
I
now?
mean, yeah, we were so close. No, it is game one, Jamsters. We have to. It's
Yeah,
game
just
one.
game one.
It's game one. But no, it's okay. What was the biggest concern probably coming into this series was going to be how deep was the Suns bench now that we have made the Kevin Durant trade? We knew it was going to be a little bit thinner because we got rid of two people that were actually playing. And Crowder should have been playing. So really, we got rid of three key players from last year. And so we knew it was going to be thinner. But Monty Williams runs out an 11-man rotation. I was not expecting that. Now, I do appreciate that he quickly realized, wait, all they're going to do is foul Biz every time. Bismack Biyombo is going to get in there, and he's going to miss his free throws more often than not. I did not know he was as bad as like a 35% free
Yeah.
throw shooter. That's kind of amazing.
I
But
think he made two in one game. I'm like, wow, he's really improving.
no,
He
actually,
went
yeah, I
two
was
for
like,
two one game.
50%. You bring that up. Yeah, 204. Let's go for it. But no, there was just a lot of questions. And I know we're down campaign. So I guess I'm almost more confused with the interest in running out that depth, because I would think without Paul George, without, is it Marcus or Markeith that plays for the Clippers?
It's
Um,
I think it's Marcus. Marcus,
Okay,
yeah.
Marcus. They're thinner. So let's just go out there and run them off the track. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
the first quarter was slow, but I was just surprised to see that big swing that Terrence Ross came in late, and we were running with Shamet and Ish Wainwright. Not that those guys necessarily played bad in the limited minutes. I was just
Mhm.
surprised.
Yeah, no, I was. And I was shocked. But then also Torrey Gregg he did play good. He had a great game today. Actually, he was probably I might hint a little bit that he might be, the jam star of the game just because he filled a big role, I think, for that starting lineup. I don't think those guys, it would have been a close game if he didn't hit those big shots. I mean, he was left open a lot. But yeah, let's talk about Craig a little bit. Stay a little bit positive because he did have a fucking great game.
What's up?
So yeah, he did start, but also I feel like a lot of what was happening in the fourth quarter, like you go through Book, you go through KD, and all of a sudden Craig was there hitting big shots, but it started the game like that too.
Mhm.
Um, he was doing more than just playing defense, and that's the thing is like when you're talking about putting a guy on Kawhi, I don't think like you can put like the size thing out there where you're just saying like okay, because Craig has more size, it's gonna be more difficult on Kawhi. Yeah, if you're KD, you can't guard Kawhi. No one can guard Kawhi, obviously, because KD was just having the hardest time late in the game to cover anybody, but also Kawhi just drawing fouls on him. So Kogi was like taken out. I hope not for that reason, but it really, it really was just because of a size issue.
Mhm.
But Craig, defense or not, you're not going to. I mean, Kawhi just went off tonight. You're not going to make any
Mhm.
difference on that end. Offensively, though, he hit some big shots tonight. Like they let the
Yeah.
Clippers left them open, right? I mean, they left them open from mid range, from the three. Getting to the rim, he was making it difficult on the defense, putting some pressure on them constantly. And he came up big tonight. And it sucks too because he had such a great game. I'm like, it kind of sucks that we went to waste it. And now I'm like, I'm going to ask you, do you go back to having Okogie come off or stay with Okogie coming off the bench, or do you stick with Craig, or what do you want to do there?
I really would have liked to have seen Monty go almost, in 6-minute increments for Craig and Okogie, both taking turns off Kawhi, because they're totally different defensive players. Craig can really play a little bit more power. I mean, he's a beefier guy,
Yeah.
and he was bodying up Kawhi pretty well. Okogie's a little bit more of a speed guy, very quick hands, can start stripping a lot of plays. And I was surprised to see he got 6 minutes and I don't know 30 seconds or something. Wainwright
Crazy,
had a little
right?
bit more time. Landry, who I know you've been excited about his defense of late, and he
That's
did. He
just
was
one thing I
okay on
say, yeah.
defense, but my God, Landry, you need to stop floating on those jump shots, man. Because every time I see him getting a little too fast,
Yes.
and this has been his knock for a while, you see him take off, but he's still drifting to the side, and that's when you're like, this shot's not going to go in. It's not going to go in.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up because it kind of reminds me. I know obviously he's not Mikal Bridges, but Mikal would always float on his jump shots all the time. And then all of a sudden he's just like on the elbow hitting shots like Booker, where he's stepping into it, being confident. When Shamet can do that, then it helps his shot like obviously going. But I also think it's such a straight line shot now. I don't know if you noticed that it changed. I'm not even gonna do his drop because it's just when you have Shamet coming off and you're trying to like really count on him in the second quarter to do anything when the second unit comes in, where the first unit they only put up 17 points in the first quarter. Then you have Shamet and Okogie coming in and try to hit shots and they can't hit anything. You have no one else. The first unit only had the 2 points in the first half, which is really, it was only Bismack. Bismack was playing great defense, but he also had the 2 points. I mean, the offense just struggled until like maybe the late second quarter. They started to actually kind of get things going. But this guy too, I mean, we'll talk about DeAndre Ayton too. If you want to go into him a little bit tonight, I'm going to say he was just an absolute zero for the most part. He had some big shots tonight, but let me get your take.
I was...
Watch.
All right, so you were going to say what? Like, I mean, he had some big shots tonight. Big shots towards the end. Boxing out, though, is that a thing he just obviously just still can't do? But how frustrating is that going to be? Because, I mean, rebounding was an issue tonight, especially towards the end of the game.
No, but I mean, at the same time, he did grab 8. It wasn't great, but I'm sorry, but Plumlee and Zubac are underrated centers. Both of them were big guys, and if you saw how the offense was running, Ayton was kind of being that backup defender. If Westbrook was going to take off on a guy or Kawhi, you saw Ayton start to leave the big guy behind. Well, when that happens, and you saw it towards the end of the game, they started executing a little bit better. Durant knew that he needed to leave his guy at the 3 and come down and help out with the bigger guys, because otherwise Ayton comes in to help challenge somebody driving to the hoop, and it's okay. Then you've got one of their big centers just waiting for the rebound. And so there's a little bit of that, but yes, no, I definitely saw, and I felt the frustration too of, and I say this all the time on Twitter and in our podcasting chat, but somebody needs to just play catch with DeAndre Ayton in the offseason. He's got to learn how to catch a ball that at some point, whether it's coming off the rim as a rebound or it's a pass that's coming to him, because you kind of hold your breath anymore. Like, I'm more excited to see him take a long 2 than I am when they're trying to dump it off to him and have him to go for a jam.
Yeah, because, I mean, he had that charge at the end, too, where it's like, don't take that, just pass it back to Book. But he tried something, to try to go around him like Craig-esque, to try to go around the defender, but he's just too big to do that. He doesn't have that work. Yeah. You give it to him on the roll.
He did have those clutch shots, though. I mean, we were down, 5 or 6, and he came in and knocked down a couple shots and in the clutch.
Big
and
shots.
Those
are like, if he doesn't make it, it's game's over earlier. Obviously, they're giving him that shot. They're really paying attention to Book and KD a lot, but Ayton, we said, was going to have those opportunities, and he did. Shout out to Blaze Megatron. Just a great comment here. DA missed a few more than normal, but the rebounding was a big team thing. Totally true. DA had to battle their big, need the others to help. And that's what you saw from the end. I mean, DA was down there trying, but there's no one else. And KD himself, I don't know tonight, what did he have? How many rebounds? I mean, it doesn't really matter.
9.
He had 9. Yeah. Okay, but like the big ones at the end, like Ayton didn't have any help. There was no one else down there. It was like him and like 3 other scrappy Clippers players, including like Westbrook, who you just can't deal with. Plumlee, like you said, underrated, grabbing the boards. But DA, the only thing that frustrates me is the beginning of the game where, it's team rebounding for sure, but I wish he would, and maybe he doesn't have time, but he needs to just put his body in front of Plumlee, get inside of him. It's just he's still afraid of that contact, it looks like, on the way I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So that's a frustrating thing, because I'm just like, if you put your body on him, it's definitely going to help. I'm not going to say he's going to grab the board, but he needs to put himself in good position. But I mean, like when Jock came in, you kind of saw like the way Jock was boxing out Plumlee, and it just seemed like I'm sorry, Zubac. Which one? Yeah, Zubac, because Plumlee got hurt. But when he boxed out Zubac, and he was like nearly by the 3-point line, I'm like, I wish he can like pick up on that and kind of play that way. But that's going to be, I don't know. That's just not Ayton, right? I don't think.
I mean, right? Like,
obviously.
get block shots like Busy and box out like Jock, and then DA's the perfect center that we need, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think you're right though. So let me ask you real quick, without looking at the sheet, who was our leading rebounder tonight?
I already looked, so
Okay.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can I go
Let
and
the folks
say?
know. Yeah.
All right.
The point guard.
Correct answer, right? 11.
Correct.
I did look at it 3 times just to double check because I was
Well,
yeah, but
and before we go deep into a CP3, because I think he had a good game, but he's not supposed to be your leading rebounder. And Devin Booker, who I'm going to talk a lot of love for, because wow, he really did some impressive stuff this game. 1 rebound. And so I think you're exactly right. Is who is getting those little tips and those tap outs at the end of the game? It wasn't really their center so much. It was Russ Westbrook coming in and just tapping it back out because KD had to go out and guard Kawhi. And so at that point, if DA's got one of their big centers, then you have to have other guys coming in to help. It's got to be Booker. It's got to be Craig. And I think they're going to make that adjustment. I mean, that's the fun thing about these game ones is we think all the wind just got taken out of ourselves, and it's now the chess match just begins.
yeah, and I'm not too down on the loss. I really not. And offense hasn't been as good as our defense and rebounding, really. I mean, just with KD being present now with the team, the defense has been a lot better. The offense you think would take off, and it's going to be a long series. And going into the series, you knew for sure they might need some more time. They had a long layoff, but so did the Clippers. But the long layoff probably just hurt them because they were playing well at a time when KD was playing 8-0, but they played really nobody. Now it's actually really stiff competition. You even saw towards the end of the game today where KD was having some trouble with Chris Paul in the inbound pass, and Chris Paul just was like, straighten up, dude. Like, pay attention. That we had to waste another timeout. That didn't cost us the game, I feel like, but we needed that timeout. We had 2 left, and we had to waste one because we couldn't even get the ball inbounded. Not saying it's KD's fault, but Chris Paul did go towards KD right away. So I'm thinking that was his fault on that, right?
Well, and I think as we already kind of alluded to with the first half, especially the first quarter, you cannot, if you're a gambling person, do not bet that Kevin Durant is going to have a trash first half every game moving forward, nor will DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker. So, I mean, let's be honest, what happened? We dug ourselves into a hole. We've seen this a little bit throughout the season. And what did we get down? 16, 17 points at one point?
Yeah.
And we clawed our way back and took the lead in the third, I think. And that was after a more impressive second quarter, but still was not true Suns basketball. It was really in the third quarter where, man, we were like a python closing it in, but we had to come back from so much. If we play like that from the beginning of the next game, the game is over before it gets, deep into the third.
Yeah, I mean, they tied it at 81 to end the third, but they did have the 12-0 run that gave them a 6-point lead, which was huge. And I think a lot of it just came from everybody at that time. And like you said, the energy that you exert to really get back into these games, it plays a big deal and towards the end of the game. Like I'm always a believer, like, all right, you get on the big run, you get up 6, you're at home, like games should be over in a way. But then also, like, I think even John brings up, it's like the amount of energy you bring or that you have to spend to get back into a game, you just know it's like that's gonna like be something towards the end of the game where you're just gonna be winded. Obviously, a team that really hasn't played a lot and you have older guys on the team, it's gonna affect them more, right? I mean, I feel like the Clippers, of course, are younger, they're more deep, so they can just exert a little bit more minutes on different guys. But the 12-0 run was nice. It looked really good. It looked like a team that was actually going to finish off the game. But then when the Clippers came back and you're going like back and forth with Kawhi, who right now, I don't know, in your opinion, who after this first game, is it Kawhi? Is he the best player in this series?
I think you would have to say yes for right now. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Booker really gave him a run towards the end with everything that he was doing. But I mean, let's be honest. If Kawhi's not in the game was over. I mean, it was basically when the Suns started playing true Suns basketball, I think it was Norman Powell. That was the only other guy that could get them a bucket. Otherwise, that team just disappeared. So Kawhi Leonard reminds me of when Kevin Durant was with the Brooklyn Nets and had just one shoe on the 3-point line when he was trying to take out, I think, the Bucks. So I think Kawhi's going to have a game like this, but I would be very surprised if they have enough bullets in the chamber to keep going each game.
All right, well, we got John Voida. He is in the dark, some hole, I don't know, he crawled into after that loss. John, what's going on? How's the energy over there?
I mean, it's kind of what you expected. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what you expected after losing game one, but at the same time, I don't think that anybody's necessarily worried. I will say it was super annoying having a Clippers fan who sounded like a 12-year-old behind me the entire game. Then when he turned around to tell him to shut the fuck up, he was like 6'4", and you're like, okay, well, you just
Wait,
keep talking shit there, buddy.
Did you tell him to shut the fuck up?
No, I wanted to, and I turned around, and then I was just like, oh, shit.
It's like my clone. 6'4"
Yes.
man sounds like he's 12, but he's a Clippers fan?
Yeah, but he actually like talks shit during the game. Like, you're quiet during the game. You'll cheer, you'll high five, but like you're quiet. This guy, like every fucking play, Kevin Durant should have gone to the Lakers, man. Like, just like a 12-year-old. It was really annoying.
Well, I just asked Jake, who is the best player tonight? Obviously, I think Kawhi, but in the series, are you worried that Kawhi might be the best player in the series over KD and Booker? Is there a chance that happens? Because
there's a chance, but a team is what's going to determine this, and I just don't know if the parts around him can consistently execute. I mean, we saw snippets of Westbrook being horrible, and then we saw Westbrook disrupting the offensive glass in the last minute of the game, and that's ultimately what led to a victory for him. So the inconsistencies of those around him, he can be the best player in the series. I don't think he's going to be, but I think he can be the best player in the series, but I don't think ultimately that's going to lead to a series victory for them.
All right, well, then just no worries then, right? Game one loss, just regroup.
It's what they needed. Monty Williams did not have this team ready to play. Monty Williams didn't call any challenges when he could have, because he kind of was just like, you know what, guys? Quit bitching, fucking deal with it out there. And I really feel like, again, this was my biggest challenge. Is one, the fact that he didn't challenge, and two, he didn't have this team ready to go. Like, come on, Monty. How do you not have this team ready to go in game one at home when the place is going crazy? Everybody's ready for this thing to win, to be a huge victory and a great start to this series. And Monty Williams is just kind of on the sideline, like looking at his assistant coach, be like, hey, what do I do?
Yeah, so you're bench watching your body language guy over there, the bench. I mean, did he look panicked, or it just didn't look good from Monty and the group over there?
He didn't look like he knew what the fuck was going on half the time. You know, and it's like his players are out there getting, I mean, how many clean blocks did you count that ended up being fouls in this game?
Not sure.
Multiple. And Monty's just he's like, oh shit. Oh, did something happen? Should I call? And that's what I noticed. I felt like he was looking at the wrong things.
Oh, okay. He does always have that kind of questionable look on his face, kind of like a DA look, but as a coach, and it's kind of scary at times. But we did talk about Monty. That was the first drop we did was Monty, and like his start with Craig coming off the bench. I mean, coming into the starting lineup. Is that? I mean, he played awesome tonight, but like that's just a Monty thing to do, right? You're playing with Craig, or you're playing with the Kogi the last like 10 games or whatever. That's it, right? You're gonna have Craig come off the bench, but then all of a sudden Craig's starting. Like that's the biggest Monty thing that would ever happen to go into the playoffs. I feel like.
Well, of course. What? Like we're all sitting there, you know, pre-game's going on. I show up an hour and a half before the game, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, in our little text or our little Twitter thread that we have going on, you know, with you, me, Jake, and like 17 other people. Dan Duarte comes and goes at times. And all of a sudden somebody said, Craig's starting the game. I'm like, Craig's starting? Monty. Good old Monty. Never fucking fails.
I don't think it lost us a game, but then Okogie comes in and he just doesn't look the same. Like, I mean, defense is okay, but it's just not the same Okogie. And then, but I don't know, man. That's not the reason we lost, but it was funny because I'm like, of course that happened. And it just kind of pissed me off a little bit.
It's just typical.
Kind of threw things off, I feel like.
That second team unit just looked discombobulated because they're not used to kind of, you know, again, that rotation. And you sit there and you think, okay, well, we're going to see some semblance of what we normally do. And to your point, I mean, that's exactly what Monty Williams did, is he just turned it on its head. We saw zero TJ Warren, which I was kind of surprised in this game.
In the world is
TJ Warren.
Where was
No idea. Just hanging out on the bench. He wasn't anywhere cool. He's just
Well,
hanging out on the bench the whole
4
fucking time.
minutes. Terrence Ross had
Yeah.
4 minutes. 0 for 1. So I don't know. I hope he's just not playing to the Clippers. I hope we can just do our own thing and not worry. I mean, of course you want to have matchups, but that was the only thing that frustrates me with Monty is like, he's like, all right, let's match up with them. We have something good going, but let's just fuck it up because of the matchups and what he thinks will work best. But I don't
What
know.
happened to Busy?
He missed
get
his free
hurt or
throws.
anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2 for 4 from
So
free
did
throws.
Jock.
Yeah. What's up?
Jock looked horrible.
Oh, really? From the TV, I thought Jock did good. He missed those shots, of course,
Yeah.
but Busy
Yes.
would have missed them too. But I thought Jock was boxing out pretty good. He had some blocks in there.
He had a couple defensive plays that looked good, but up close, like those were fouls. Like those were actual fouls on his plays. And then he gets
Okay.
to the line and he doesn't hit shit. And there's that one play at the end of the third quarter where he's standing there wide open, and we're just like, "Fuck, this is gonna be a brick." As the time is,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like-
They-
you're like,
That's what
"Ah."
the Clippers were just leaving guys in like the middle, which is open over in the paint. It was either like Craig, Jock. They left Ayton open basically all game too, so they made everybody else work for stuff. But then everything was given in the middle, and it was make or miss, and that kind of killed us when you had just those guys there missing those wide open shots. Especially Chris Paul. We talked about him earlier. I'm not sure if you're leaving or you're going to stay a little bit longer. Did you want to talk about Chris Paul?
I can
and
talk
just-
a little bit. Traffic's starting to dissipate a little bit, and
Okay.
I really want a carne asada burrito.
Nice. That's the best thing about going to games or having a bad date. You can pick up Mexican food on the way home.
Yes,
It is the best to finish up. Do
Yes.
you want to say hi to Jake? Jake, do you have any questions for John? I was going to talk about CP3, but do you have any questions for John?
Well, no, I mean, and I just want to touch on it again because I think we were all just a little stunned. But that first major rotation, they left Booker in, and then it was Landry Shamet, Ish Wainwright, Okogie, and Bismack Biyombo. I'm sorry, I like a lot of these guys for their defense, but that felt like Devin Booker like 4 or 5 years ago when we were winning like 22 games a season, where she's like, all right, Booker, you got to do everything because we can't give you any firepower to support you right now. And that was after he was playing pretty much the entire first quarter too. So like that second quarter rotation where I was just like, oh, what's Monty doing? Like, it was a scary moment, and I was like, is he just trying to get inside Ty Lue's head? Like, maybe if I act like I don't know what I'm doing, Lue will just, like, I don't know,
Maybe.
put players out there that have no business to being on the court too. And it just, like you said, John, like they looked at each other like, oh my God, we're actually going in a playoff game, but why am I going in to play with you? Like it was just a strange fit. Like have that rotation go out if it's like a last shot of a game, maybe like to try and play some tough defense. Don't do it when you're trying to get back in the game down double digits. I don't understand that at all.
Neither did
I
they.
blame Coach Mutombo on that one.
Neither did they, though. And that's what the weird thing was, is we were all sitting there kind of being like, well, hold on. Landry's first off the bench. Here comes Ish. Here comes, like, Busy makes sense. Okogie makes sense. But the other guys, they just didn't make sense to me. And again, like, we've only had, this is our 9th game with Kevin Durant. But it felt like Monty was trying to plug and play shit. And he was pressing all the wrong buttons. It's like he's playing 2K, and instead of hitting the square button to shoot, he was pressing like the circle button, and he's passing. He's like, "Oh shit, I hit the wrong button again." And then it was a
Bounce
turn.
pass, come on.
He's like, "I didn't mean to bounce past that. I didn't want to alley-oop it. I was trying to shoot it." And it was just like kind of continual, and you couldn't fault it too much because at times, when the starters were back in, we got back in this game. Shit, we were up 8 points in this game, in that third quarter. But that's again when he made that substitution rotation, and all of a sudden, boo, there went the lead, and the Clippers kept Kawhi in there, and they kept chipping away at it. And next thing you know, like it's a tie game at the end of the third quarter, 81-81, and I put that solely on Monty. I don't understand it. We were all in the stands looking at each other like, oh, fuck, here comes Landry Shamet again. And he had a couple good plays at the end of that third quarter. So it's like,
on the fast break, yeah, he was
on the
just
fast
outrunning
break.
everybody. That's
Exactly.
the best way to play Shamet is just have him out in the open and put the ball in front of him, and good
but
things will
outside
happen.
of that, he was
Just
a
don't guard him.
zero.
He'll make a shot.
Yeah.
He was a
He's-
zero.
Yeah, he always is. Honestly, I thought too on offense, Chris Paul was. I mean, defensively, he was great. Rebounding, we talked about. But his shots, like I don't trust him to go in. Maybe one every 8 games now.
Those missed bunnies were fucking killers, man.
Yeah,
And-
that's just
And
game
what
right there.
Sucks about those, what sucks about those plays is he had DA on those plays. He had them.
So you see
had
that
him.
like at the game, like DA is there because he never gets those passes. DA never does.
Yeah.
But as Jock or Biz come in, those passes are straight to them. I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
and they have more room. But DA, I'm just like, yeah, he's not getting the ball. But obviously, to me, I didn't like the way he played tonight till the end. Like he has some big shots, but boxing out and stuff. We talked about that earlier, but I,
What DA?
well, how was his energy out there though in person?
Did you already do 8 and watch?
I did, yeah.
We're doing it again. So, I loved what I saw from DA in this game. Would we like him to be a little bit more aggressive, trying to get to the basket? Absolutely. He was settling for what they were giving him, right? He was taking the jumpers, but from an energy, from an engagement standpoint, he was in it. Like if his box outs on free throws is something that I was watching every time, and like Ivica Zubac can move him around, and he was moving him around. And on free throws, like typically DA is kind of the first free throw. Always watch DA on the first free throw when a teammate is shooting, and it'll show you a lot about how engaged DA is. Normally in a game, he's talking to somebody, or his hands are on his knees. In this game, it wasn't that way. At least what I saw is he was sitting there and he was popping right up, like he was practicing being engaged for the second shot, going for the rebound. He didn't get a lot of opportunities to go get that second board. And obviously what killed us in that last minute of the game was the fact that every ball bounced off of every different fucking body part. That was right in front of me. I was sitting over on that side of the court. And so it's like, it's off his foot, it's like, it's off his knee. It's like, fuck again. But like, I liked what I saw from DA in this game. I thought that, again, he was engaged, and I just wish Chris Paul would have hit him more, because he was doing the high pick and roll, trying to switch on to Zubac. I mean, that's what the game plan was make Zubac the pigeon in this game. You could see it. And DA would be sitting there, and he'd have Russell Westbrook on him. And I'll give credit to Russell Westbrook. His hustle on defense, he's coming behind every fucking play trying to pick your pocket. It's how
he
I
did about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, like when I play defense, I'm a matador, and then I swipe at it behind you as you're
You usually dive for the ball out of bounds a lot. That's one thing Westbrook will do too. John's a diver; he'll dive out.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, my back, I can't play no more. But again, I liked what I saw from DA in person. I know it didn't necessarily translate to the box score, and we would have loved to have a rebound in the end.
Yeah, but that's not a DA thing that we do. For me, it's like the way I was watching, like, just go there, like put your body right there, and everything will be okay. I was telling Jake, like, the way with Jock was boxing out and stuff, that's nice to have, but then that's not DA, I guess. To me, when I'm watching him trying to get the boards, it just didn't look good in the first half. But maybe it's to the point where I just kind of given up, and I just don't really expect a whole lot from him, and I'm just a grumpy old man now at the age of 34. Who knows? That might be the reason, but I'm glad that you saw in person that the energy was there, because that's pretty shocking to me, honestly.
Yeah, and he did it. I will say the one thing that I didn't like was I was there. I mean, like I said, I was there early. I was watching all the warm-ups, and DA must have took like fucking 25 3-point shots.
Oh, okay.
And I hate that shit. And he was
because he never
all
shoots
of them.
threes. Yeah,
He
obviously,
never shoots
right?
threes, and he was missing all of them. I'm like, come on, man. Like, be out here working on your craft or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, it looks like traffic's dissipated, so I'm going to get out of here. Jake, thank you. Hold on, you're on this side. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to the Jamsters. There were some multiple Jamsters that came up and said hi during this game. That was always
Oh, cool.
fun.
Very
when
nice.
you walk into the stadium, they're like, I know you. And you're like, and you run away.
You're like the
Especially
Beatles.
the
The Beatlemania over there, huh? Voidmania.
Well, John,
They have the crosswalks painted now. You should have like remade the Abbey Road.
I should have.
Yeah. That would have been nice, a picture of that.
John, I'll just say to you and Matthew both, though, that goes a lot to what you guys have done. The Suns Jam culture that you guys have built. You don't see that culture with a lot of other pods.
It's big. It's vicious. It's out there. You get your shirt ripped.
I was with Justin, obviously, from Fanning the Flames. And he's like, God, if only I did a video podcast.
I know
Maybe
exactly.
they'd
You gotta put
recognize
yourself.
me too.
Yeah, you gotta expose yourself 3 times a week.
Yeah, careful. That'll get you on the sex offender list. So, Matthew, you drinking wine or is there
Already
water
there.
in that?
Yeah, some leftover wine. It's some wine.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
No, come on. Tell them
Oh,
what you were
Picasso,
calling
what's
it
it?
at the beginning.
Oh, Prosecco.
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 Yeah, champagne.
I like how
Prosecco.
you press that, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
For the sake of Prosecco.
Hey.
Prosecco.
Oh God. All right. Well, I appreciate
Oh,
you guys.
goodness.
Continue with the post game pod. Jamster, subscribe, rate, and review. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday.
All right. See you later, John. Thanks for dropping by.
I'll make sure not to end the podcast. I'll just
Okay, yeah. We'll see. We'll give it 2 seconds. Okay, we're still live.
Yeah.
Quick shout outs after John's visit. Very nice to see him. Libertarian Sasquatch has given us $4.99 in the chat. Thank you very much. And he does say, I think just basic Monty overthinking the starting lineup. So like I was gonna ask you too when John was talking about just Monty looking frantic. You always just see like how Chris Paul and Kevin Durant and even Booker might have their input with Monty. Like, do you think that just like sways him like in one direction? Because Chris Paul's always talking. So do you think that has anything to do with what his decisions are when he just ends up making this decision to have Craig start, or like, you know, just any kind of plays towards the end of the game where they can't get the ball inbounded? Is that Chris Paul or is that really Monty?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I think you always have to listen to your stars a little bit more than you would otherwise. But I mean, like let's be honest. So as you pointed out at the beginning, Torrey Craig had a great game. And I like Josh Okogie, but let's be honest, Josh Okogie would not have hit a lot of those shots that Torrey Craig hit.
Yeah,
now,
true.
Okogie can be super streaky and he can go off too, but Torrey was jamming it, laying it in like power lay-ins. He was taking mid-range jumpers that I think Okogie, I would have screamed at the TV if I saw him taking those at the top. And so I was very excited that Torrey's a little bit calmer at it. But Okogie should definitely be playing more than 6.5 minutes. I mean, you can run him out and really disrupt a lot with Josh Okogie and have a lot of fun with him too. So I think it was a great use of Torrey Craig, but a misuse of Josh Okogie.
Yeah, I feel like both the defense played so well. I think Booker was just insane. We'll talk about Booker in a second. We will have that drop here momentarily. It's been too long, almost 40 minutes into the pod. But I just wanted to say the defense was great. Usually in games like this, it's like, you know, Okogie would be huge. The tip balls, you know, the extra possessions you would get from him. But I feel like we kind of got that tonight, right? I mean, I'm going to go look at the offensive rebounds for the first time today. Only 6. Oh. We were out offensive rebounded 14-6. So screw that. Have Okogie play a little bit more minutes. I don't know what I'm talking about, obviously. But it just seemed like we were like making the extra effort at times to get the extra possession, but it just wasn't bouncing our way sometimes. And of course, we'll talk about Book, but there's one more shout out. Black Sunday does send us $10. Thank you. And Jake, I will email you a check. I will mail you out a check of the $3 you might earn from this podcast. So don't worry, you will get a few bucks. He says, Monty has turned KD into a role player. Ayton attempted 16 shots, while KD attempted 15. Only 3 shots in the whole fourth for the guy we traded for and gave away Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson. That is Kevin Durant.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to do a book, but we obviously didn't really talk about KD too much, really in depth. Is this just him getting used to things? The first thing that came to my mind in the first half, where it was just a lot of ISO ball, there was no movement at all with the offense, is I always go back to Goran Dragic when he talked about when he played for the Nets with that team and how it was basically just like the 3 top stars and then the rest of the team. It was individualized basketball. It wasn't really a team ball. It wasn't any kind of effort to get those guys included to have any plays run or anything like that. Is that going to be an issue? The Suns are going to have these playoffs where they're just going to focus more on ISO ball and just get to the rim, do what they can do because they're Kevin Durant and Devin Booker? Or are we going to get back to moving around and cutting and finding DA on slashes? Or, you know, because KD is that guy that can find dudes like on the run, like towards the rim, if he's getting double team. I just didn't see too much of that. But I guess he did have how many? Oh my God, I'm really bad at this. 11 fucking assists. All right, what do you think about KD? I'm gonna drop off in the pod.
He doesn't share the ball at all. No. Well, so I think the point was a little deceiving because you're right. Ayton did have more shots, but let's be honest. When KD moves the ball, you see the entire defense shift. When Ayton gets the ball, they react slower because they left him open for a reason, because you either pick Booker or you pick Durant or try and do both, and that's going to leave somebody open. So Ayton's going to get more shots, and honestly, I want him to take those shots. DeAndre actually shot, what did he shoot? See, now I'm doing that. It wasn't great. 50%. It's not
But
bad.
that's the difference.
But
It's
yeah.
like the eye test and then the actual box score. I'm always the eye test guy. I really am. I don't look at the box score till we're talking about a guy, obviously, because I do that a lot on this podcast. I just, for myself, the first half was just so overwhelmingly bad compared to like the rest of the game where it was more competitive, maybe to me. So maybe that's what I was more focused on. But continue. My apologies.
No, I think though, I felt like the first quarter felt like ISO ball where every guy after a couple missed shots, because KD was what 0 for 5, I think, to start or something like that. I know DeAndre wasn't shooting great. Booker wasn't shooting superb. I mean, because we weren't shooting great. Nobody was shooting great, initially. But so it felt like to me, okay, KD, go take a shot. Okay, now Booker, go take a shot and miss. Okay, now this guy, go take a shot. And so then they all kind of said, you know what, I'll get us out of this hole. I'll get us out of this hole. And then it's like quicksand. The more you fight, the deeper you sink. So as soon as though they started kind of in the second quarter, a little bit into it, and then the third when they were moving that ball around. And then all of a sudden the Clippers could not pick their poison even if they wanted to. That's when we started taking things over. So I think hopefully the team recognized it. Hopefully Monty and everyone is, saying, "Oh, okay, that's clearly the what we just need to do from the get-go." But it could have just been first game jitters, and you hate to see it from people like Chris Paul and Durant and Booker, who clearly have been here before and should know how to do it better by now. But
yeah, I mean, I could see that from KD. A little bit of jitters. He had that his first time playing here. Like he just was off. He had 2 great games in a row, and then kind of fizzled out towards the end of the season. But Los Suns say KD should have gone pick and roll with DA. I do love KD obviously having the ball more. We can talk about CP3 just a little bit more. I just wanted to say, like, just him bringing the ball up is past the half court line is an accomplishment right now for what Chris Paul can do offensively. And I don't know if you would rather KD handle the ball more, him and Book bringing the ball up and starting the offense. Is that something you would look forward to in game 2?
And I won't be shocked if the adjustment happens, but I will say this, and it looks like the one thing the Jamsters are all agreeing on is that we don't need to see Landry Shamet again play 23 minutes. If we go up and crush him and we want to play him, for 2 minutes at the end of the game because we're winning by 10 and try and get his feet wet again, by all means. But otherwise, Landry wasn't even point Landry. It was point Booker. So I don't know why we put Landry on the court, put Okogie in there, and then you keep that, defense in there. And because Landry's good at defense, he's not great. Okogie's a little bit better, I think. And if you're gonna,
he's way better.
Yeah,
I mean, Shamet's good, but Okogie's just phenomenal.
No, exactly. So I mean, if we're not going to utilize Landry as a primary ball handler, he doesn't need that amount of minutes. He can be a shooter, but honestly, that's why we got Terrence Ross.
Exactly.
That's why we have T.J. Warren. Heck, that's why we have Damian Lee. So I mean, Landry is. I just don't think he's going to. I think it was a poor move for him to stick with Landry. But there's one thing that Monty's good at. I tell you what, he's the kind of guy that we might be a little frustrated with. He'd probably also be the guy you invite to your wedding because he's that nice of a guy that he wants you to play through your problems. And that's what we get frustrated sometimes with.
Yeah, exactly. He trusts me.
Like how many times he's like, okay, I know you like this guy, but he's just not good for the team. Like he can still be your friend next to you on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why
take him to dinner, but don't give him that many minutes. It didn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's why we had no option, but really just to really trust Chris Paul too. I mean, that's not going to change. I'm just asking it. Like, it's not going to change. We're still going to trust Chris Paul to bring the ball up and get things going. I mean, it's hard to pick up the pace.
And he didn't do it too often, I thought. He did a little bit, but I mean, it's definitely not the last 2 seasons where we saw full court press, against CP.
Yeah, but you hit it dead on with Terrence Ross and T.J. Warren and even Lee, who doesn't get any minutes and who knows if he will. Those are guys I just want to come in and shoot too, right? Just be the extra guy in the corner, the extra guys who's going to be open in the middle of the lane, like they were giving a lot of guys. Those are the guys I want to take the shot. I don't want it to be Shamet, who's just like really just shaky. He's just super shaky. Some guy I just don't trust in the playoffs, and I've said that many times. Great defense. He does the extra shit, but we need someone to score, someone to go lights out, to go hit like 2 threes in a row, just to get us back into the game and get this offense going. But here we go, Big Dick Book.
Big Dick Booker.
All right, 26 points, 4 steals. I thought he had 4 blocks. It's saying 3 blocks. I'm pretty sure he had 4 blocks on on TNT. They had That's what they had at the stat line. So I'll stick with 4 blocks. But he was insane on defense. The extra plays that are the extra effort he gave to save balls. That one play where he just saved it and gave it to Craig, and then they had that dunk or the end one, cut it to 1. That was probably the biggest play of the game at that point, obviously, because cut it to 1 right there. The Suns look like they have a little bit of momentum now with the crowd back into it. But then they just couldn't stop the Clips. So they couldn't get the extra rebound. And also, he had that one play at the end. Of course, great game by him, I think. Offensively is fine. He'll hit the shots next game. He didn't hit the big shots like he should have, like he normally does, but he'll make them next game. I just think that one play at the end where he thought it was a foul from Russ, but then Russ just throws it in off of him while he's complaining to the ref. That looked bad. That was a bad way to end the game. But your thoughts on Book tonight and his game overall?
Well, and I'll say this about Russ. Russ played great defensively for about the last 3 minutes. But if you give me 3 of 19 from Russell Westbrook again, I'm going to be so excited because that was a phenomenal shooting stat line from Russell Westbrook. But Booker, I mean, wow. I forget who said it on the coverage of the game, but they said Devin Booker playing like the best defensive player in the league. I think he blocked some kids from being born tonight. I mean, he was all over the place and just stripping fools and blocking shots. And oh my gosh, I was excited to see it. And so, wow, yeah, that actually, I mean, it's stuff like that. Kevin Durant's going to have a bounce back game. This team will rebound. That I'm feeling better than like I said, that first quarter, I was like, oh, it's the Mavericks. I feel the Mavericks. They're haunting me. But how we finish this game, I'm like, all right, now we're going to go out and hurt you next time. Now we're going to have to hurt you on the next game. So enjoy this victory, Clippers fans. But
yeah,
Booker inspired a lot of hope with the way he played.
Yeah, I trust obviously so much, but defensively, there was like another level I thought he can get to. Like, he's my X factor. The level he gets to is really what's going to carry us. I think DA is not going to be that guy to where it's like, go win us a game. He had some big shots tonight, obviously wide open. He has to hit those, but Book just has to hit those extremely difficult shots and clutch situations, and he'll get the opportunity. And when he does, he'll knock them down. I think tonight he hits some of those shots where it's like, if those go down, like the place is going to explode in there, right? We get the extra 3-point lead, obviously, and maybe take the wind out of the Clippers and they call a timeout. He just wasn't able to really hit those shots tonight, but I think they'll fall next game for sure. But before we get into Jamstar, I forgot we actually have to do these.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
All right, subreddit stakeout. I was actually in there. Some good stuff. I actually forgot to look at it in the fourth quarter. But there's some good comments in there. Clipper Nation live and running over there. Hating on the Suns big time. First comment was I like how let me see. Like how I wish I can read. Like how Durant is defended, alternating between Gordon and Russ, being physical, making it hard for him to get into spots. It was weird because there was always mismatches, I feel like, in the first quarter. And this nose actually fits my face pretty well, don't you think?
It's surprisingly,
it's not bad.
Well. Yeah, no,
no. Yeah, okay. But I just thought that was interesting because I did notice that in the beginning. I was like, oh, mismatch, but they made it tough on him. But I don't know, that wasn't the greatest comment. But this is the Russ I was worried about. They said, in my feelings, Russ is a dangerous Russ, and a lot of air balls. Like, I just feel like even like the turnovers, I think the Clippers towards the end of the game, they called a timeout to draw up an inbound play, and then he just turns the ball over right away. Like, that's Russ. And the Clippers, they're scared. I mean, I think if we're going to get a lot of these games from Russ, right? Tonight, just exactly what
I think so. I mean, he reminds me of like if Josh Okogie could dribble, where you're going to be like, no, stop doing that. Yes. This isn't your game. Yes. You missed the last 10. Just stop. Play defense, perfect. Play energy.
Yeah, no, I totally feel the same way. I think it's like one of those things like, oh, we had a bad Russ game, but we got the loss. Like, we can't have that again. You know what I mean? But we're going to get those. But defensively, they just got to know where he's at. Just remember he's not going to give up on plays. This Suns team is just dirty and nothing more. I guess, I don't know. They weren't really dirty tonight. I didn't think Chris Paul had a dirty little shove on Man in the game.
I was going to say, who's our favorite referee that was not reffing this game?
Who is it?
Mr. Scott Foster. And let's be honest, if Scott Foster calls one of these games, which odds are probably very strong that he will,
he's waiting.
The stuff with Terrence Mann and Chris Paul, I fear is going to get Chris Paul ejected, because those guys, I've never seen like the ball would move down the court and you'd still see the two of them just like slapping each other like kids. As soon as a parent turns around and stops pays attention again, they start smacking each other again.
Yeah.
Like Terrence Mann knows that he can sacrifice himself, and if taking out Chris Paul would be a bigger gain than not. So hopefully Chris sees that and can respond a little bit smarter next time. He didn't cost us the game with regard to how he's playing, but man, that was some stuff there that I was like, okay, ease up on that, Chris.
I was saying the same exact thing. There's a few times like, just stop. Like, we're going on a run. I'm surprised they didn't call anything, because I mean, Chris Paul was making the extra effort to get attention from the ref to call a foul or technical or something. I'm like, dude, chill out, but they didn't do it. And you're totally right. I'm glad you pointed that out, because I noticed that. They're pushing the pace now, but it's hard to do with a 40-year-old point guard. That was in the second quarter towards the end. It is true. It is something we have to face. It's hard to do it. If you can get the ball out quick, then we're okay. But if not, we're kind of screwed. KD's starting to scare me. Yep. Started 0 for 4, was 1 for 7. Someone did point out in the chat, so thank you very much. But he came alive, and I think he had, 15 points in the second quarter. So, I mean, obviously didn't finish the game very strong with only three shots in the fourth, but he was scary there for a little bit. And then someone said, screw Jock. I swear he's always effective against us. And I thought it was a good Jock game. All right. There's a lot of shit out there, but I thought he was decent. All right. I'm the guy that says a good Jock game and not a lot of effort from Ayton, but that's just the kind of guy I am, I guess.
Well, like I said, to me, I mean, I didn't see what John saw, obviously. Maybe the camera just didn't track it as well. But I will say this, like the busy stuff, love him on defense, but like the Clippers, that's total Ty Lue right there. If the ball gets dumped off to him, foul him, there's a good chance he won't make either shot, and we'll get the ball back. And so, I mean, what's I forget the exact number, but like you obviously always want to come away with points on every possession. Not everybody does it perfectly, so it's usually less than 2. And if Bismack is going to get you like 0.3 points every possession, then he's a major liability out there. So, I think I don't know if it's not going to doom him for the rest of the playoffs, because, hey, it's good. He's drawing fouls, getting us to the bonus faster too, because we don't have a lot of guys that always take it in, towards the hoop. So I do like that about him. But I thought Jock adds that a little more offensive push that we've seen throughout the regular season that makes him at times more valuable than Biz out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some. Even John took the side of like, we're not going to see Busy. I mean, we're not going to see Jock. I'm like, he's going to have some good games. I thought it was just a good game by him. All right, he's not going to win us a game, but he did okay. He's not going to make those shots he took. He's not going to make those. If he does, then we're going to win the game. If he's hitting a 3, we're going to win the game. But obviously, when he's missing that, it's going to be closer than we want it. But that was all from Subreddit Stakeout. I apologize. I wasn't really hanging out in the fourth quarter. Got a little busy in my tears, and that's it.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
All right, I think I know who my jam star is, but let's get everybody else.
Jam star of the game.
All right, go ahead and like, subscribe, leave us comments about who you think is your jam star of the game, please. We'll go ahead and let Jake go first.
Well, if it wasn't obvious, Landry Shamet is not.
I know
the jam
all the
star
praise
of the
you
game.
got from us. I mean, obviously, these playoff games we have, I just knew it would come out Landry, like, he's gonna win us a game.
Yeah,
it's like to say that. I hate being that way, but it's frustrating. It's just too frustrating to me just not to say. I'm just getting a little angry. I might curse a little bit. You'd be upset about it, but
well, like I said, the good thing about that is I know I see some people on here, some of the Jamsters telling us that that Ayton is a frustration. I'm sorry, like there's not a lot of other options. We're not going to do Busy as a starter. We're not going to do Jock as a starter, and they would all be worse. And yes, and Ayton's going to do very well. But one thing that we know we can correct that wasn't very much net negative was Landry Shamet. So I know we're doing Jamstar. I kind of did an anti-Jamstar right there, talking so much about Landry, because the true Jamstar is Mr. One Devin Booker, who clearly has transcended this postseason after just game 1, because he gets better every postseason. It's impressive.
He does. Yeah. It's great to have that guy as just already the best son of all time on your team, getting better and better. Like he's improving every, like you said, postseason, but season when he's healthy. This year, he's had moments where I had to walk away and just, oh, this guy is amazing. I don't even know what to say anymore. But tonight I'm gonna give it to Craig. 9 for 12, 2 for 3, or 2 from 4 from 3. Just killer. Only 4 rebounds, but still, like, he just hit the big shots. He was the reason why we're still in the game. If he doesn't hit those shots, obviously it's a worse game. But they left them open, but he hit them. And like you said, if Okogie was in there, I don't think we had a chance at making this a game because I don't think Okogie hits those. Even though I trust him, I really do. And when Okogie goes 0 for 8, I still love Okogie. But it's nice that Craig, I don't think we're going to get this game from him again, right? 9 from 12? That's pretty fucking good for Craig, man. So I might as well give it to him until next time, which might not ever happen again. But let's see what the Jamsters. I was reading something. Let me see. You guys did you even put who you wanted? Come on, Jamsters. There's 150,000.
I see Blaze had the juice. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some Clippers Jam
There's
stars.
only like 5 in here, though. Yeah. All right. Blaze Megatron, thank you very much. The juice. Totally right. Suns Forever 83. Booker. Low Suns. Torrey Craig. Ollie Woe. KD. Yeah, right?
No, Aiden is a big soft vagina, Sarah Tran. What's wrong with the soft vagina? Yeah, Clippers fans wouldn't know anything about that.
All right. One Royal Q. Aiden is a big sot. I don't know what that means, what a vagina is. Charles Pinster, Lil Ligament Booker. All right. This is Lil Ligament Booker. Ligament Booker. That's
why he's gonna be looking up to that little ligament a lot this series.
Man. Caroline Valdez, excuse us for the language. Craig. Sarah Tran, what's wrong with the soft vagina? Okay, I walked into that one. John Doe, y'all the real Jamsters. Oh, did you actually read that comment and then you said that? Or else
I did. That's why I was. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I thought you.
Where do you think I was pulling it from? Just like random.
I just thought you said that. I was like, what's wrong with it? I'm like, we're getting into man talk.
I'm not bringing you on anymore if you're going to be talking about that dirty talk.
All right. Jonathan since 80 says TC all day. Gary Pinky, Tory Book. Jam, Lissy likes bad. Yep, I do like bad. I like Jock. I'm sorry, I like Jock. I said that. I said it all the time. I like him when he plays this way. I just do. All right, well, we do have game 2 coming up. There's another game. We get another chance for another victory. It is Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Jake, anything you're looking forward to? No Shamet minutes. Looking for more Lee minutes? You want someone else to pop up off the bench?
I don't need Lee. Yeah, I mean, because he might be in, the deep freeze at this point in the rotation. Terrence Ross, I'd like to see get a little bit more run. It sounds like Payne might not be back, and honestly, that he'd probably make us a little bit nervous too. But we don't have to run out an 11-man rotation. I hope Monty can tighten it up a little bit. I don't want to see Landry, and honestly, I think we took the best shot from the Clippers tonight. Paul George is not coming back, and the Clippers played one heck of a game. And what their hope is that Russell Westbrook does not go 3 for 19 again. Whereas our hope is all we have to do is set Landry down, and Monty maybe needs to get a little bit more aggressive on coaching.
So are we going to do that?
Our corrections are going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, I think so too. But is it going to be one of those things where, okay, Paul George is obviously he's not going to play the series, but are we going to say, like, if Paul George plays this game, it's a blowout, and if it's a close game again in game 2, is this a 2-0 Clippers lead if Paul George is playing? Because it's a totally different game, obviously. Paul George is there. But I mean, if Paul George is there, do you think the Clippers just win this series because the Suns just don't look the same? Or else do the Suns, you think, have a better opportunity to come out next game and put up a performance where we're like, no team can beat this? Which scenario do you see happening?
Right. I mean, the what ifs of if Paul George plays, what would it be? I mean, a lot of people thought the Clippers, they were the pick to win the title this year. They have that skill set to go off. Can they do it through a 7-game series? I don't think so. And like I said, our corrections are put Landry Shamet back down and tighten up the rotation. Their adjustments are I don't really know what else they could tweak on what they did, and they barely got out of there with a win. So that's how I see it. I would, if I was a betting man, I'd say game 2 is a very strong Suns lock, unless Monty decides to just not watch any of the film, which we know is not going to happen. But we do get frustrated with him sometimes.
Yeah, we do. Actually, to me, I don't really. Tonight I did. And that it's funny because the way John was talking about him on the side, where he's just like looking kind of like questionable and just like, I don't know if he trusts his self out there. that is kind of scary because I do see that with Monty at times. I try to ignore it. I'm like, we have good players around there that can just help him out. I feel like
I think he's
Chris
got one of
Paul,
those
but
faces though too. I mean, like I wouldn't
Maybe.
want like a Mike Budenholzer who is like screaming his head off every time Giannis gets fouled and like, oh,
Yeah.
can't you call that? Like, I mean, that's almost worse.
looks like he's
That,
drunk
you
all the
know,
time.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you know, Monty wants to play the wise sage. Maybe he needs to get up a little bit more and get, you know, some movement, some blood flowing in his legs and get a little hyped. But I don't think the adjustment for Monty himself isn't going to be huge from the next this game to the next. He just needs to make a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, well, I think we trust him. I think next game we'll talk about how great he did to adjust, and I just don't want to now. If Okogie goes back to the starting lineup, that'd be weird. But yeah, all right.
I don't think you will. But like I said, when you know, so as you gave Torrey Craig the jam star of the game, and I know it's a broken record at this point, but did you know that Landry Shamet only played 3 minutes fewer than Torrey Craig, your jam star of the game? We know exactly what we need to fix. And that's what's actually very exciting because a lot of these teams that we'll see don't have a clue what they're going to fix. And that's why they're not going to advance. We know what we need to fix, and that's an easier thing to deal with.
Yeah, so give Craig more minutes. That's what you're saying, right?
Oh, give him more minutes and put Okogie, give him more time off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't play Shamet.
I mean,
I don't know.
like I said.
Yeah, I know. We can go over and over. It's never going to happen because Monty does trust his guys. And just we'll make him go through it. That's why he never calls timeouts. He's like, deal with it on the court. Usually that's the way it is. But Jake, thanks for joining us. We had a lot of fun. I know it was a rough loss for everybody out there, but don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and leave us a review. Also, Spotify, you guys have been, the 5-star reviews have been coming in. We hit over 100 now. It looks really good, nice and clean. I think it's 104 right now at 5 stars. So keep those going. It's very simple. Just hit 5 stars. That's all you got to do. You don't have to leave a review or anything. But Jake, where can they find you? I mean, where's all the good stuff? I feel like every podcaster always has to ask, where can they find you at, right? Where can they find you?
You can find me in the great state of Iowa. And then if I'm not there, you can find me in the Twitterverse at Fallen Founder.
Jamsterdam bartending still. How's business over there?
You know, I'm still waiting for my Jamsterdam Molians or whatever the currency is to come through.
So initial reaction, I just want to get your thoughts on it. So Jamsterdam, when you signed up, what were you thinking? Like, because you were the first one there. Like, you were the first one on that plane. You had your place set up. You don't have any furniture still, so I don't know what you're sleeping on. But maybe you're just working 24/7 at the bar.
Bartending that job, man. Just listening to my tunes that I recommend.
Same one over and over. So you're kind of stuck in a purgatory there. It's like the Twilight Zone, whatever's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. No, you know what it is? It's like, oh gosh, what's that movie? The Shining or something. Like I'm just like the ghostly bartender, just like you've always been here. That. Don't you guys know this? Yes. You've always been in Jamsterdam. And what I thought about it initially, it will probably make you laugh because growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, I just remember like it was kind of like the birth of the internet around then. And like it kind of reminded me of like cereal boxes that were trying to get like kids to be like, oh, do you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Well, find us on cinnamon-toast-crunch.com. And because it like, and I mean that in a positive way because there was like a lot of nostalgic graphics, like the art style was very just like, oh hey, this is like turn of the millennium type stuff. And so I thought it was a cool thing. There's a lot going on there, and so hopefully someday
yes, it was a lot. Someday.
I mean that's why I said Suns Jam culture is superior to other pod cultures out there.
That's the thing is like, well, that's the thing with Jamsterdam is like with the Suns had such a miraculous season and they lose game 7. No one gives a fuck about anything with Suns. You know what I mean? Like no one remembers any of the memories. No one wants to hear about it. No one wants to be a Suns fan at the moment. So Jamsterdam is just something that can never happen. Plus it's a ton to keep up with. It was cool. I like your feedback on it, but maybe I'll come back around and I can get some staff. Maybe I'll just train my nieces and nephews to start working. Maybe I'll have a kid pretty soon.
There you go.
10 years. I don't even know.
Well, I was going to say, you won't tonight, because like I said, Devin Booker blocked a lot of kids from being born tonight.
He did, man. Total cock blocker. But we are now over 4 minutes.
With that big dick.
Yeah. This is overtime now. So you're going to get an extra 50 cents. Thanks, Jake, again. Everybody at Jam Session. Oh, that's not our Twitter handle. At Suns Jam. I'm at Matthew Lissy if you want to follow me. And everyone go home and love your family. See you guys next time.